Mean. Mr. Mean lived up to his name. He lived in what could have been a nice house, but it wasn't. He never painted it or mended the windows or repaired the roof. Inside was the same. No carpets, no curtains, no pictures, no fires. And Mr. Mean was so mean that he made his furniture out of old orange boxes that then complained about the price of nails. Why, he was so mean. Do you know what he gave his brother for Christmas last year? A piece of coal. It wasn't as if Mr. Mean didn't have any money. Oh, no, he had lots of money, and he kept it all hidden in a box which he kept in the kitchen. Every evening he'd sit there counting it. It was the only thing Mr. Mean liked doing. But would he spend it? Oh, dear me, no, not old Meanie. Not if he could help it. One day, Mr. Mean was sitting in his gloomy kitchen having a gloomy meal. He only ever had one meal a day, and that day he was having a cup of water and a piece of bread, which was 3 weeks old. Suddenly, he was interrupted by a knock at the door. "Drat," he said, because he didn't like people. Drat and bother. He opened the door, and there, on his doorstep, stood a wizard. A rather fat wizard. "Hello," said the wizard. "I wonder if, by any chance, as it's such a warm day, could you possibly, if it's not too much trouble, be so kind and to, if not too inconvenient, perhaps I'm very thirsty. Provide me with, do you think, a glass, if it's not too much to ask, of water, please?" He was a very wordy wizard. "No!" replied Mr. Mean rudely and shut the door in his face. He went back into the kitchen to finish his meagre meal. But there, standing in front of him, was the wizard. "How did you get in?" said Mr. Mean. "Well," replied the wizard, "it was by how I shall put it. I just, wielded the old, what's the name, magic wand, don't you know? And well, here I am, and if you know what I mean, you must be very poor," he remarked kindly, looking around. "Oh, yes, I am," lied Mr. Mean. "Then perhaps I could help you," said the wizard, pulling up a box to sit down on. The box did not move, so the wizard pulled it harder, and this time it did move. In fact, it tiptoed up and split all Mr. Mean's money all over the floor. "Well, well, well," exclaimed the wizard, eyeing in the money roll over the kitchen floor. "Well, well, 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 well. It would appear to me," he continued, "that you, sir, are an old meanie." Mr. Mean didn't hear him. He was too busy scrabbling all over the floor trying to pick up his money. "And meanies," added the wizard, "need to be taught a lesson." So he sang, he waved his magic wand, and all the money turned into potatoes. Potatoes! Poor Mr. Mean. Oh dear me!" he wailed. "Please turn my money back into money. Oh, please, please, please." "Perhaps," replied the wizard. "But on the other hand, taking all those things into the account, by the large things being what you are, on one face on it, perhaps not. However," continued the wordy wizard, "if you make me a solemn promise never to be mean again, then I will turn your money back into money. But," he added, "certainly, if you are ever mean again, then how can I put it, then it's potatoes for you, my lad. If not, other vegetables as well." Then the wizard had a glass of water he'd come from in the first place, except that it was a cup of water because Mr. Mean didn't have any glasses. Then, with another wave of his wand, he turned the potatoes back into money, and, with another wave of his wand, he made himself disappear. "Stupid wizard!" murmured Mr. Mean, picking up all his money. Mr. Mean, picking up all his money.
Yeah.
The following day, Mr. Mean decided to walk to town. He never took the bus because it cost money. On the way, he met an old washerwoman carrying an enormous bundle of washing. "Please, kind sir," she asked, "could you possibly help me to carry this washing? It's so heavy." "No," replied Mr. Mean. "It's your washing. You carry it. You are going to carry it." But as soon as he said that, he felt a tingling in his nose. Mr. Mean's nose turned into carrots. "Oh no!" he gasped. And then Mr. Mean remembered what the wizard's words. "Yes, yes!" he cried in a panic. "Of course I would help you!" And he carried the huge bundle of washing where the old washerwoman wanted. And the carrot turned back into his nose, and off he went. The old washerwoman cackled again and turned back into a wizard. It had been him all along. On his way to the town, Mr. Mean passed by a cottage in the garden. The garden was an old man. In the garden was an old man chopping wood. He saw Mr. Mean going past and called out. "Excuse me," he cried. "Could you give an old man a bit of a hand, you follow me, lad?" "No," replied Mr. Mean. "It's your wood. You chop it." But as soon as the words had passed his lips, guess what happened? His ears turned into tomatoes. "Oh no!" he gasped. The old man chuckled, and Mr. Mean remembered the wizard's words. "Yes, yes!" he cried. "Of course I would give you a hand." He chopped and chopped until the wood was cut, and the tomatoes turned back into his ears, and off he went. The old man chuckled again, and turned back into the wizard. He was teaching Mr. Mean a lesson, just as he promised. Eventually, Mr. Mean arrived in the town. There was a little boy crying because his ball got stuck on top of the wall. "Please, sir," cried the boy. "Please, sir, could you reach my ball down for me?" "No!" retorted Mr. Mean. "It's your ball! You!" Then he stopped. There was a funny tingling feeling in his feet. "Yes, yes!" he said hurriedly. "Of course I will." And he reached up and passed the ball to the boy and went on his way, looking obnoxiously at his feet. The little boy stopped crying and turned into the wizard. "I think," he said to himself, "I think that Mr. Mean by the largest beginning. If I'm not much mistaken, not quite so mean, and I think although I could be wrong, although I never am, and he has, thank goodness, learned his lesson." Today, Mr. Mean is nothing like so mean as he used to be. And he doesn't keep his money in a box in the kitchen anymore. He spent it all for having his house mended and painted and made spick and span. And he turned into a quite generous sort of fellow. Goodness, he's so generous. Don't you know what he gave his brother for last Christmas? 2 pieces of coal.
No. Mr. Mean. Thank you.
Mr. Mean.
Okay.